Hey all, Cy here. So it's chilly this morning, but I'm out here working on my bench and we got the planer belt in. Well, husband got the planer belt in and he helped me plane the boards for the top of the table. And what we discovered is this one has a warp. It's just a small warp. But I looked at some YouTube videos on how to fix a warp. So I'm gonna try to do that. But anyway, I thought that I would move on to some of the drawers and I'm gonna cheat. Well, the directions call for joints like this. Finger joints? I can't remember what they're called now. Anyway, I thought it'd be cool to dovetail the joints. I was gonna dovetail them by hand, but I decided to use a dovetail jig. Jig. I've never used a dovetail jig before, so it'll be fun. But I've gotta get the boards cut first, so first things first. I used a miter saw and I cut all these, and now I have to cut them to size on the table saw. Yeah. And I know the outfeed table situation isn't the best here with this roller thing, but it was better than nothing. And then someone sent me a plan how to make an outfeed table, so I'm excited about that. This is O, P, and Q. This is U, S, and T. And this is X, U, and V. Or X, V, and W. AKA the drawers. Okay, now that those drawer pieces are all cut out, I guess I should read this. So I read and I discovered that all of the parts should be the same thickness. So off to the planer I went, and boy does it work great since husband put that new belt in. New belt and new blades equals nice smooth wood. The woodsmith plan wants these boards to be 1/2 of an inch thick, but they're a little bit thicker than that. And as long as they're the same, it shouldn't matter, right? So I've spent all day cutting all the pieces for the drawers. And I was going to do a cheater way and make dovetails with this dovetail jig. And so I watched the video and husband said, when you're all ready for me to hook it up for you, I'll do that. So we came out to hook it all up, and the router, well, I'll show you. It all has to do with the base plate. The router that fits the base plate won't accept the collet size for the dovetail bit I want to use for cheating. So I'm thinking maybe I need to do some regular dovetailing. So now it's almost 8 o'clock and I want to work on that warp. So I'm going to do the warp and then I'm going to be done for the day. Well, I was trying to find a board to attach it to, run it through the planer, and it doesn't feel like it's warped anymore. Or I turned it upside down or something, I don't know. But what my problem is now is my sides aren't straight. So I ran it through the table saw and can't get it to go straight. So I would normally be super excited about that warp disappearing, but I just can't seem to get the sides straight. And I really want to glue this up, but I don't want to have big old gaps there. So I grabbed my little hand plane and I planed it a little bit, and that seemed to help some, but I really wanted to be able to use a table saw. So I've been working away on my tabletop. Again, I was trying to use a table saw without an adequate outfeed table, and it had dropped onto the floor and broken, and so husband's like, well, you have to re-glue it because of course you're not gonna be able to cut it straight with it broken. So got it re-glued, and anyway, I've cut it so many times that now it's too narrow. So I had to glue up another chunk for the tabletop, and that is gluing right now, but I've been working on the drawers. So I did my first dovetail and it was loose. And so I did my second dovetail and I tapped it together because it was so tight that it snapped off the pins. So I glue those pins. Anyway, so I marked all the rest of my boards here, and now I'm going to attempt to dovetail another drawer. I didn't realize how wobbly the table was until I was editing the video. And that might make a difference in the result of my dovetails, I'm thinking. I marked everything and then I cut right on the pencil line, and then I tried cutting on the pencil line of the dovetails and on the inside of the pencil line on the pins, and I just don't have a routine down yet of what works best for me. Yay, look at that! And even though this is a very rough way to sharpen these chisels, boy, it sure helps. I've noticed hardwood is definitely easier to chisel, but among the different hardwood boards, I've noticed certain boards are easier to chisel than other boards. I don't know why. So then I marked my pins and I cut my pin boards. Out of all the little hand sawing, using this little coping saw seems to be the most difficult and tiring. But it is so much better than having to chisel out all that wood. Chisel time. Chisel time! Chisel time! Now to try it. The first try was too snug, so I went back to chiseling a little bit, and I ended up sanding some, and that made it fit real well. Okay. Look at that. Nice. Cool. Well, okay, so it's a little bit too deep on the pin board, which is the front. Well, let's cut this one and see how that goes. Or actually, number 2. Look at that. Well, that's without sanding. Ooh, that means it's too loose. Okay, so I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do. But let's take a look at this drawer. So there's one of the drawers. I wish this side was tight like this one, but oh well, I can't have everything. But I know to be careful, or to be more careful. Yep. Well, I did one more dovetail. Or I guess it's 2 sides of the front. Anyway, so I have 3 of them done now, and here they are. Don't laugh. But here's one. And then this one. So the 3 drawers there. And I just have them put together. And I suppose that they'll look better if I sand them up some, but don't look too close. Anyway, it would have been really cool if I could have used that dovetail jig, but I guess I'll get lots of practice, and maybe by drawer 12 I'll have a dovetail drawer that looks good. I just keep trying. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I hope my dovetails get better, but I suppose I can always remake the drawer fronts later.